Greetings. Super Jacob here with Iron Wire Martial Arts, and today I would like to discuss three terminologies that we use common in our practice of martial arts. And these three terminologies, or three practices, if you will, have kind of a golden thread that you can find through almost any system of martial arts that you study, at least authentic systems it can be found in. So the first topic of conversation is martial psychology. Now, what is martial arts psychology? Well, to go along with any movement, any fighting technique, any sequence of fighting techniques, you need to have the mind frame to match it. If you don't believe in what you're doing, if you haven't practiced it enough, and if you don't have a psychology to match it, when somebody's standing right in front of you, your timing's going to be off, the block might not work, the counter that you're trying to do, you might not get that reversal that you're looking for. The technique won't work. A lot of times, now listen to this, because I'm telling you something here. A lot of times something doesn't work because you don't believe in it or you don't understand it. Listen to that. You got to understand what you're doing. You got to train what you're doing. But above all, a teacher or a coach, or even yourself, if you're by yourself, you got to condition yourself to understand the ins and outs of it and believe in it. Without belief or without that conviction, if you learn these blocks, box out, block here, block, but if you don't believe in it, and if you're casting doubt upon what you've been taught or what you've even learned, due to intimidation, due to whatever the circumstance. Sometimes you might doubt yourself. That's going to affect your timing. That's going to affect the way you move. That's going to affect your psychology. So a teacher, not only when you start learning these drills and whatnot, he's also there, or she's also there, to ingrain it in you. You can do this. Make it quicker. You can do it. And once you're in here, let's say, for example, I take the side. I get, boom, now I'm over here. But if I miss that first strike, if I haven't trained this enough, this enough, this enough, if I haven't trained that enough, I'm not going to have that belief. I'm not going to have that muscle memory. So martial psychology, a good teacher or trainer, or even if you're training yourself, which I recommend you should have enough material first, is that you got to have a psychology, positive belief system, and a series of events that reinforce the success of your teachings. You can't just learn something, do it even 100 times or 3 or 4 times and say, yeah, it doesn't work. Nah, that's horse. Come on, man, that's crap. That's horse crap. You got to train it. You got to believe in it. You got to understand it to make it work. I mean, you want to talk about martial psychology, try learning counters. When you first start learning counters, somebody's gonna start throwing punches at you, and now if you haven't trained or know how to weave or even block or even counter, it's not gonna work. You gotta train it, you gotta test it, you gotta believe in it, especially when you're scared. Because there's going to be times, especially if you're into sport fighting, or even if you're outside, you're going to get scared. But a lot of times if you believe in it, that's what makes you succeed, because your timing's better. Okay? So the first terminology is martial psychology. Now you got to take that one to heart, because that is the difference between whether something works or doesn't work. And don't just go on what popular media says. If your intuition tells you something, follow it. Keep following it and see what comes up. New thought, new growth, new levels of strength, new plateaus of understanding. Martial psychology, it's a big deal. You'll find that some of the top athletes nowadays, they gotta train the mind. Okay? Martial psychology, it's important. Next terminology is martial geometry. Now, what is martial geometry? Well, you're going to find this out in a lot of martial arts. or you're going to find there's going to be something where you look at a martial art and you go, it's interesting, but I can't really pinpoint it. What are they doing? A lot of the times it's martial geometry. You'll understand that, like, look, here's your horse stance. Here's your cat stance, right? Here's your twist stance. Look at this block. Here's your bong sao. Here's your tan sao. Look. This is your here's the top of the triangle. I'm gonna go this way. The triangle. I'm gonna go facing the opponent. I can walk through. Here's the tip of the triangle. And I took attitude to walk through. Walking through fire. Psychology meets martial geometry. Trap, trap. Geometry. Bong sao's geometry. Pak sao. Geometry. Geometry. Footwork. Triangle. Geometry. Geometry. Martial arts geometry. You're going to find this a lot. Structure. Shapes. Footwork. Geometry. Okay? When and how to use it, well, that is for you to explore the depths of your system. Okay? Now to go along with that, there's circles and there's most common, the most easy to point out is a triangle. And a lot of geometry goes with structural integrity. Okay, structural integrity mixed with understanding, mixed with conviction and belief. Okay, and so this is something that even if you're a novice or when you're advanced, you point out. One of the first things I started learning when I started beginning learning Silat was the law of the triangle. How to walk the triangle. You're going to see the tan sao in Kung Fu. These shapes. Okay? The structural integrity. Martial geometry. So, first, martial psychology. Next is martial geometry. Get to know it. Get to understand it. Maybe that can help you understand your system. Or even how traditional art, why traditional arts move the way they do. Okay? Last terminology is martial physics. Now, martial physics is, well, it can be interpreted a lot of ways. And I just want to, this can be a deep conversation, but I'd just like to talk about the external manifestation of martial physics first, before you even approach the internal world of martial arts, which, by the way, is a vast world. But martial physics. Now, you're going to learn with your system, if it's from an authentic background, different types of power manifestations. And you can even see it in sports and different sport fighting, thing like that. But, you know, we come from traditional backgrounds and we have a modern approach as well. That's why I try to see the collaboration between them at times. Let's talk about the first level of physics, which centrifugal force, power of pulling, power of sending, the power, circular power, lifting, sinking, sending, receiving, circular, absorbing, inch, physics, spiral power. You'll see it in a baseball. You hear that? Hear that? Whipping. Sinking. Absorbing, sending, receiving, inch, spiral, circular, corkscrew, martial arts physics, winding up. You know what I'm saying? So, martial arts physics. It's a big part of it. Now, some schools specialize in just that, the internal world. And good practice. And then there's a lot of schools, especially just combative schools, that are just going to go over martial arts geometry. And then a lot of the psychology you're going to see in coaches these days with top level athletes and people who are faced with an adversary, a resisting opponent. You're going to see a lot of that psychology. They're going to teach you something, they're going to grain it in you. But all three practices are great. No matter what your style or system, just acknowledge these three terminologies. Martial arts psychology, martial arts geometry, martial arts physics. Think on it, meditate on it, add it into your training, and hopefully this helps you. Thank you for sitting through this discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to write me anytime. Until next time, train hard and have good character. Sifu Jacob, Iron Wire Martial Arts.